Book Haul!
Hello and welcome, Christine E. Schulze, aka the Elvish author, and once again, the fabulous Zachary. Your name is not Zachary, Isaac.
This is Zachary you're talking about.
Because I call him Zachary, and so it just came out as Zachary, and I'm sorry, you're not Zachary, you're Isaac / Zachary. I love you. Anyway, and it's time for another book haul, and
Saved yourself there.
it's time for another book haul and discussion where Isaac picks up some books from the library that I've never seen before, and we just kind of look at them and read the blurbs and have a discussion on what we think of each of them to help you guys discover new things to read, to help us discover some new things to read. And this is also always really exciting for me because I've never seen the books. He just pulls them out of the bag and it's like magic. So,
Magic.
let's just hop right into it, shall we? What's our first selection for
I think I
today?
went for a little theme with some of these books.
You went for a theme?
Mm-hmm. I picked out a theme for this week.
A theme?
Yes.
Okay, so like all the
Let's
books have like
see
a
it.
similar theme. That's cool.
I think 3 out of the 5 books have a theme.
Close enough.
Yep.
That works. So, we got first. Whoa, that's instantly creepy. It's called Mary Will I Die. Man, he's going for like some horror now. See, so this thing, this man doesn't like horror, but all of a sudden, like,
I actually do like horror books.
okay, that's fair. Also on my other channel, we just started watching Squid Wars and doing some reactions, which isn't exactly a horror, but has some horror elements to it. And he's like all about what's gonna happen next. So, but yeah, I like this cover. It's very simple. You've got the black with the red font. But the girl, anytime you have like somebody with eyes that are like not eyes, it's always creepy. Like that's guaranteed creepy every single time. Also,
Can you do that with your eyes?
creepy on the back. I could paint them. And I think that might be bad for my eyes. I think they probably make contacts like that. But we all
There's
know
those people who could like put their eyeballs over. You just see the
there are
whites
those
of their
people.
eyes.
That's true. I'm pretty sure they probably also make contacts that could make your eyes look like that. But I can't put anything in my eyeballs, so the point is no, I can't do this. Anyway, so yeah, the back of the cover, of course, with it being a horror book, as opposed to a blurb, which there is a blurb on the inside that we'll look at too. But of course it's like a little bit, like a snippet of the book. It says, "Come and take a closer look. Look at how beautiful you are. A face like that deserves the world." And then there's a little other snippet that says, "Elena shut the door behind her, failing to notice that someone was watching her. Something. Its face pressed right up to the mirror, staring out at her, retreating back, a wicked smile curling its bloody lips." Like that. Alright. And the blurb to Mary Will I Die by Sean Sarles? I don't know. I always gotta give credit to the author. I'm not sure how to say his last name. We're gonna call him Sean Sarles. Sarles. Sean Sarles. It's like a tongue twister.
You're a tongue twister.
Thank you. Anyway, the blurb says, "The mirror doesn't hold your fate. She does." Oh, this is probably based on that.
Well, then when you turn off the lights and say, "Mary, do you know?"
The thing where you do a Mary thing into the mirror.
Yeah.
I've seen like several movies, horror movies with that by now. Yeah, it's probably based on that kind of thing. Okay. "Only one of them knew about Bloody Mary. If you say her name into the mirror 13 times, she'll show you your future. Some legends say that she'll reveal your one true love. Others that she'll show you how you die. And then some believe that conjuring Bloody Mary will bring her into our world. When the 4 of them, Elena, Steph, Calvin, and Grace, play the game, they think it's innocent enough. Elena sees her longtime crush. Steph sees a girl she's never even met before. Grace sees Calvin, and Calvin sees her, Bloody Mary. They pretend it's all fake, that they only saw their own reflections. But something happens to each of them that will follow them for years to come. A demon is unleashed, waiting for the right moment to strike. Now, 5 years later, the 4 of them are no longer friends, and the mirror is only a distant memory. But they can no longer ignore the eyes that have been watching them for years. The air is thicker. Her voice whispering in their heads is louder. Accidents start happening. People get hurt. And Bloody Mary won't stop until she gets what she wants."
What does she want?
Okay, so what do we think of this initial kind of look at this book? Is this something we would read?
I would read it.
I would read it. I don't know if I've ever actually read a straight up horror book. I've read like some thrillers, like young adult thrillers, but I don't think I've read a straight up horror. I think that I would actually be more scared at this point reading a horror book if it was done well than watching a horror movie.
Really? I'm the opposite.
I really think I would. I remember, I've watched so many horror movies at this point that they have to be really well done for me to actually be scared.
That does make sense, yeah.
And one of the things I hate with a lot of horror movies these days is they give away the fact that there's about to be a scare, right? So they'll play like scary music, like, it's like, okay, well, I know you're about to like show me something scary. It's not scary anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that a book could be scarier because you're not going to have that. You're going to have more anticipation. You're not going to have music and other cues that are like showing that something scary is about to happen. So I think if it's well written, that a book could be scarier.
I can see that.
The only thing I've ever written like horror wise is when back in college when I read the Telltale Heart in like the middle of the night, and that was a mistake because that actually creeped me out to read it in the middle of the night. So again, I think that a horror book could be like scarier for me.
See, my thing is that with a scary movie, I don't have control of what's going on.
Oh, where
when I'm reading a book, everything is in my head, and if something is scary, I just make it look like a fluffy bunny if I need to.
I feel like that defeats the purpose of the book.
It's my story.
It is your story. If you want to make Bloody Mary a fluffy bunny with razor teeth, I mean, that's really your business.
Are you ruining my little bunny?
Anyway. But she's still going to be a killer bunny, even if she is fluffy, so...
Yeah, but it's like a cute kill.
Well, at any rate, this is a thumbs up for me. I would love to actually read a horror book sometime, and since I kind of already know, like, the general lore behind this one, I think that would be really cool. So, like it. We got a good start here. What's next, good sir? Burden Falls. Well, we certainly have more blood going on. Is this your theme that you were talking about?
Maybe.
I like it. He did get inspired by Squid Wars. It's Squid Game. They don't know what I'm talking about.
That's right. Squid Game.
It's Squid Game. I call it Squid Wars. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, if you really like movie and show reactions, Elvish Reactions, my other channel, I'll put a link down below. But at any rate, yeah, so we got Burden Falls. So this cover, besides making me think like, okay, horror, we got some more blood. It's also a simple cover, but I like it. Though the red on white is very effective. And it does make me instantly think of Twilight as well. I think that's maybe because you have like the bloody apple. I don't know. There's just something about the apple that makes me think Twilight.
Okay.
He's not super familiar with Twilight, but the first book has the apple on the front and everything. So, yeah, let's just kind of see what this is about. This is a book by... Oh, I got the author's name covered.
I really don't like when they do that.
Well, I understand they have to do that. They have to have like their library stickers on there. But it looks like her name is Kat Ellis. And it even has a tagline down here that says, "This town is rotten to the core." Again, we got the apple, so that makes sense. So I'm curious if this is going to be some kind of, mystery about something weird going on with the town. Or if it's going to be something like vampires or zombies where you do have like actual rotten people. I mean, like dead people or whatever. So let's see if the blurb sheds some more insight on what kind of book we're getting into here. The town of Burden Falls drips with superstition. From rumors of its cursed waterfall, to dead-eyed Sadie, the disturbing specter who haunts it. Ava Thorne grew up right beside the falls, and, since a horrific accident killed her parents a year ago, she's been plagued with nightmares in which Sadie comes calling. Nightmares so chilling, Ava feels as if she'll never wake up. But when someone close to Ava is brutally murdered, and she's the primary suspect, she begins to wonder if the stories might be more than legends, and if the ghost haunting her dreams might be terrifyingly real. Whatever secrets Burden Falls is hiding, there's a killer on the loose, with a vendetta against the Thorns. Dun dun dun! So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on that? Thoughts on that?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it.
Why do you like it?
I like the mystery aspect of it.
Yeah?
Killer, the spookiness of this town.
Yeah. I always like when you have a town that has something weird going on.
Mm-hmm.
What was that one that we watched? Oh, yeah, we watched a movie. Was that Netflix or Hulu? I don't know, one of the two.
What was it?
And it was named after a number because they could only have that number of people within the town.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they went over that number, like someone had to die. It was weird. It was interesting. That also would have made a good book, to be fair.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I do like the sound of this one. Again, I like a creepy town with a creepy backstory.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of if this ghost is real or not, and if so, what the backstory behind that is. Like, who is Dead-Eyed Sadie? Also, they have a cursed waterfall.
Yeah, that was the first thing that piqued my interest.
I'm about anything to do with any kind of waterfall.
Awesome.
So, cursed or not. So, yeah. This is a possible thumbs up for me. I'm still, I think, more intrigued by the first one.
Yeah,
for
the
whatever
other one
reason.
is still more interesting.
But this is also a possible good read to check out if you're a fan of horror. So, next. Whoa, it's a big one. It's a big one, guys. It's a real big one. Maybe if you can even get it so big you can't get it out of the bag. Whoa, for a Muse of Fire. All right, so switching it up here. We've gone from blood to fire. And it looks like, I'll have to read it, but maybe some semblance of Asian cultures, because we've got the dragon that's kind of Asian. You know, more Asian style as well. So let's see here what kind of book this is. It's a very cool cover. It's probably harder for you guys to see on the video, but it's kind of shimmery. So, plus they've got like the library protective jacket on there as well, which makes it kind of harder to see. But it's very shimmery. The reds and the golds of the fire are shiny, which is pretty cool. So definitely an eye-catching cover. And the author is Heidi Heilig, and she is the author of The Girl from Everywhere. So if that's a book you guys are familiar with, maybe you should check this one out as well. And the blurb to this one says, "Never show, never tell. Jetta's secret has kept her family from starving. It has made them the most famed troupe of shadow players in Chakrana. With Jetta behind the scrim, their puppets move without stick or string. Never show, never tell. With a drop of blood, Jetta can bind wandering spirits to the silk or wood or leather of the puppets and bring them to life. But the old ways are forbidden. If anyone discovered her ability, Jetta could be thrown in prison and left to rot, or worse. Never show, never tell." As rebellion swells and desperation builds, Jetta's power becomes harder and harder to hide, especially from Leo, the young smuggler with sharp eyes and secrets of his own. When he and Jetta capture the notice of both the army and the rebels, she may be the spark that lights the rebellion, if she isn't consumed by the flame itself first. And that is the blurb of For a Muse of Fire. And thoughts on that, good sir?
Very cool.
Very cool.
I really like the second paragraph of her binding spirits to silk.
Yeah. And bringing the puppets to life. It seems like they use the puppets. It says a troupe, which makes me think kind of like circus.
Traveling.
I don't know what shadow players are. That would be interesting to find out in the book. But it does seem as though they put on these puppet shows, and that is how they make their livelihood. But again, the secret being that nobody knows that these puppets are being puppeteered by these spirits, technically, that she's able to bind to the different materials. So yeah, that was, I think, a unique thing. I don't know if I've ever seen that kind of aspect in a fantasy book before.
Me either.
I also just really like that her name is Jetta.
Jetta's a cool name.
That's not a name that I've ever heard in a book before either, so that's pretty cool. Makes me think a little bit of Avatar, which I'm also watching on my reaction channel right now, because I just watched the episode called Jet. But yeah, Jet is a cool name and not one that you typically hear in books either. So yeah, a lot of cool, unique concepts in here. And you've got this guy Leo. I'm curious if there's going to be any like romantic tension between the two of them, but if there is, at least it won't be a love triangle. Which there's nothing wrong with the love triangle. Some are really good, but some are really overdone and they're just in there for the heck of it and for like no good reason. So sometimes I like seeing a book that has a romance just between literally two characters. Yeah. So that's a possibility. We'd have to read obviously to find out. But yeah, again, unique concepts. And I think there's another thumbs up.
I'll read that one.
We get a lot of thumbs up. Every now and then we get some thumbs down. We're just like, yeah, and that's okay. We don't have to be interested in everything. But this one, yeah, definitely really, really cool. And also really, really big. So if you like big, thick books, check this one out. Next. Iron Widow. And man, we kind of even have a theme with this. We got, the same colors anyway. The reds, oranges, and golds on the cover. And this one definitely is from some kind of Asian culture. As you can see by the girl on the cover, she definitely has Asian features with her face and her the way her hair is done. And the author's name is Ziren J. Zhao. I'm not sure if it's Ziren or Ziren, if I'm saying the first name correctly. It's spelled really cool. Like, it's a very cool name that the author has. But again, it's called Iron Widow. Did you have something to say? Sorry?
Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. So one of my favorite things that books sometimes do It said if you open the entire book up, it would show up one picture.
Oh yeah, this is one of those books. Ooh, so last we had a dragon, now we have a phoenix on this cover. Yeah. So there's the phoenix's face. Again, it's kind of hard to see with the reflection. I know like they have that protective jacket on there, but it is if you open it up all the way, it's a phoenix, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that too. Some of my books do that as well, yeah. So yeah, let's read the blurb and see what this is about, shall we? The blurb says, look guys, however you say this name, I'm not going to say it right. So let's just read, shall we? In Hausia, the highest honor for a young girl is to be selected as a concubine pilot. Supporters paired up with male pilots to power up chrysalises, the giant transforming mechas that humanity relies on to battle the massive aliens that lurk beyond the Great Wall. But the honor often ends in death, and when 18-year-old Zetian's sister is killed by an ace male pilot, Zetian signs up to avenge her. The vengeance is swift, brutal, and unexpected, leaving Zetian labeled as an Iron Widow, a much-feared kind of female pilot who can sacrifice boys to power up chrysalises instead of the other way around. To tame her unnerving yet invaluable mental strength, she is paired up with Li Shimin, the strongest and most controversial male pilot in Hausia. Is that how I said it the first time? No. To tame her unnerving and invaluable mental strength, she is paired up with Li Shimin, the strongest and most controversial male pilot in Hausia. But now that Zetian has a taste of power, she will not cower so easily. She will miss no opportunity to leverage her and Shimon's combined might and infamy, and survive attempt after attempt on her life, until she can figure out exactly why the pilot system relies so heavily on destroying girls' lives, and dismantle it for good. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, they are, basically... What are the chrysalises? What? Okay.
They're probably giant robots.
I gotta say, I'm thinking like something like a giant robot. My brain instantly went, as my brain often does, to Zelda. And it went to Breath of the Wild, empowering like the Guardian, or not the Guardians, the Divine Beasts. Well, and the Guardians too, I guess. But yeah, so I like that they're called chrysalises. I'm wondering if there'll be something to do with like butterflies, because butterflies, go into chrysalises to transform, and caterpillars go into transform into butterflies. Of course, there is the phoenix on the cover, and phoenixes are also known for transformation, so there could be some kind of theme there as well. So that's really cool. I like stuff like The Handmaid's Tale, and so anything that has a little bit of a dystopian vibe, where it's like, okay, well, why are we sacrificing girls to, fight this war or whatever? Even just the fact that, pilots flying is a very big part of this culture, obviously. You do have, it looks like this is going to be set maybe in China, or maybe like an alternate version of China, because it talks about the Great Wall. And so, again, bringing in that culture is really cool. So, yeah, I have a lot of things that I think are intriguing about this book. What about you? Yeah.
Like, the cover makes you think this is a different kind of book.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be fantasy in some way because of the phoenix.
Yeah.
But, nope, there's robots.
Yeah.
And, yeah, no, I'm super in.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, definitely reflects, like, Asian culture. So I think that's a good way to draw people in if they're wanting something, from a different... Whether you are from, Chinese culture, or whether you just want to experience something that has to do with different cultures. So it definitely draws you in. Maybe the phoenix will still play a part in the book.
I hope so.
Whether symbolically or literally.
That's her chrysalis.
Maybe it is, and maybe the chrysalises take on different forms. That could definitely be. I think even the name Iron Widow is pretty cool. Yeah, pretty badass, She gets that title because she took down her pilot partner pretty fast. So yeah, this is definitely a thumbs up. Maybe even 2. And that would be 4. Anyway. Alright, and then we have one more book to look at for today. I do believe. Sweet. Called The Keeper of Night. This is the theme you were talking about, really. Because those two the first two were in a theme, but now we have another that seems to be coming from an Asian culture. This is called, again, The Keeper of Night, and it's by Kylie Lee Baker. And, as you can see from the cover, well, you probably can't see very well, but the lady does also seem to have the Asian facial features and be from some kind of Asian culture. You've got the lanterns, and she seems to be she definitely has, what looks like a samurai sword.
It does look like a samurai sword.
Yeah, so, it looks like it says, death is her destiny, as well. Little tagline there. And the blurb to this one says, half British Reaper, half Japanese Shinigami. Ren Scarborough has been collecting souls in the London streets for centuries. Expected to obey the harsh hierarchy of the Reapers, despise her due to her mysterious mother and even more mysterious Shinigami powers, Ren conceals her emotions and avoids her tormentors as best she can. When her failure to control her developing Shinigami abilities drives Ren out of London, she flees to Japan in search of the acceptance she's never gotten from her fellow Reapers. Accompanied by her younger brother, the only being on Earth to care for her, Ren enters Yomi, the Japanese underworld, to serve the goddess of death, only to learn that here too she must prove herself worthy. Determined to earn respect, Ren accepts an impossible task: find and eliminate 3 dangerous yokai demons. With help from only her brother and a new ally who might be less than trustworthy, Ren will learn how far she'll go to claim her place at Death's side. Ooh. Well, your thoughts on this? I'll let you go first this time.
Very cool.
You can't just say very cool all the time.
I'm going to explain things.
Okay.
I really like she's half British, half Japanese. I'm trying to remember what I can't say that
Shinigami.
Word. Shinigami means. Is that like the Japanese version of a Reaper?
Maybe I should know this because, well, and you haven't. Have you watched Death Note?
No, but I watched an anime called Bleach.
We're gonna watch Death Note sometime.
And they were people who hunted souls, and I think they were called Shinigamis.
Yeah, because the creature in Death Note, one of the main characters, he's a Shinigami, and it definitely has to do with death.
Yeah.
And he has a book that'll write down how you die, and that's how you die. So definitely, yeah, maybe that is the Japanese version of a Reaper. I mean, they're called Reapers here as well, except it seems like she's a Shinigami, and the others...
She's half Shinigami.
Well, and the other people in this group of Reapers are not. So she also has some specific powers as well. First of all, I like that, just to begin with. It is kind of a little bit of a horror element, but also fantasy at the same time. Yeah. Again, since I'm a little bit familiar with the concept of Shinigami, I think that's pretty cool. I'd like to learn, more about that, how this book brings that into perspective. As opposed to the last one being about more Chinese culture, this one's Japanese. So, again, whether you are of Japanese culture and you're looking for something that kind of represents you, or whether you are wanting to, you're not, but you're wanting to experience some fantasy from other cultures, seems like a cool book to check out. As we know, I love seeing diverse cultures represented in fantasy as my favorite genre. So yeah, again, I think this is definitely a thumb up as well. And I like it. So I like it. Well, that concludes today's book haul and discussion. We got some great horror options. We got some great, Asian culture / fantasy options. And I don't know. Any closing remarks from you?
Do you have a favorite one of these?
Do I have a favorite one? Which one stood out the more? I don't really know. I want to say for horror, probably this one out of the two.
Me too.
And then I'm also very fond of this one. It just has so many cool concepts going on in it as well. But they were all pretty good,
really good
reads. As far as we can tell, just by looking at them, that would be good to check out. On that note, happy watching and happy reading, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye. Bye.